cards. Oh, nice.
No, it's not.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. Hey, everybody. We're going to start in a few seconds here.
Yeah, just 3 more minutes. We're going to get situated and let people join. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. We love talking to you every month. It's a fun time, usually. Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Get our stuff and our props ready here.
Yep, we have an
Jeez,
exciting
man.
time.
It's crazy what everything looks like when you. It's already 10.
It's it. 9:58, 2
It's
minutes.
getting close.
We're gonna be very punctual today, so just everyone get ready for that. Alrighty, nope, not yet.
Got it.
Oh yeah, and we have these behind us. I don't know if we.
Oh, that big head's in the way right there.
I can scooch this up.
Get set up.
Perfect.
Hope everybody is doing good this morning.
Yeah.
Happy Wednesday. It's already October, which fucking blows my mind.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
What's that?
Okay. All right. Oh, sorry.
I don't know what I'm doing. Try to set up our stand.
Okay, we're almost at the point where we want to start. So I'm gonna really quickly just get set on my end.
I found this really fun pencil.
I know that one's. It's a thick.
It's like
lead,
0.9. This is
yeah.
this is like 1.5 lead or something.
Okay, it's 10 a.m. So hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Glove Lab. Woohoo! Yay!
The effects are back.
Yep.
The digital effects.
And as you know, we chat about everything disposable gloves. And if you have any questions, just let us know. And thank you again for being part of the Glove Lab. We do this every month. The goal is to have a casual, informative conversation so that people can learn more about gloves and food safety.
Yes. So a little bit, some people may know, if you're new, welcome. This is, I think, our 13th Glove Lab now, because I think with Darren was 12. So it was a year. So yeah, it's 13.
Shoot.
But anyway, I'm Sarah, and this is Ashley. We are in the marketing department for Eagle Protect. We're located out in California. So I guess if you talk on social, you're going to be talking to Ashley. If you talk online on the website, you'll be talking to me. So we kind of divide and conquer, if you will. But we work for Eagle Protect. And Eagle Protect is the world's first B Corp company that is a disposable glove and clothing supplier. And what that means for people that might not be familiar with being a B Corp is we try to do everything right, all the way through the supply chain, from the factories down to the user, making sure that there's no forced labor, everybody's treated right, the pricing is fair, the quality is trustable, all the way through. We try to do it the best we can. One thing that makes us unique is we also developed our proprietary Delta Zero testing program. So when a range of our gloves come over, and we're expanding it to be our complete range, but right now it is our 2.6 through our 5 mil. When the containers come over, we lot test them. So every container that comes over, we will send them off. We'll take a scientific sample, send it off to labs, and they're going to be tested to make sure that they are the highest levels of cleanliness and for safety and performance, and making sure there's no harmful chemicals. There's not, the durability is where it should be. There's nothing that's going to contaminate the product you're handling, that kind of a thing, which makes us a little bit different and unique for a lot of people that don't think about gloves. We do that so you don't have to, and we think about gloves all the time.
All the time.
So hopefully we take some of that pressure off there, and then you can just, if you get Eagle gloves, you know it's a glove that you can trust, because we do the back end work on our end. So.
Yep. And so we like to ask a random question at the beginning of our live streams, just to be more fun. And so this month, because it is the Halloween month.
It is.
What is your favorite Halloween candy? It doesn't have anything to do necessarily with gloves, but
not with gloves, but I would say definitely it needs to have a wrapper on there if we wanted to add the food safety aspect of it. Oh man, I gotta say, we don't get too many kids that come to our house, so I probably.
Oh yeah, are you in it?
The candy that I buy is the one that I like to eat, so I'm probably more in like the what are they, like the Almond Joys or like the Reese's cups. A frozen little Reese's cup is
incredible.
It needs to be in the freezer.
I agree.
That's for sure.
I agree. My dream has always been to be on a trick-or-treating street, like live on a trick-or-treating street, but we just bought, like, we are not on it.
Yeah, we don't. I live on a street with no kids.
Yeah.
I in 3 years, I've gotten one trick-or-treater.
So that would be the dream.
Yes. I buy candy that I eat, and then I don't have to give it away to everybody.
So cute. My favorite probably would be Snickers, just because I feel like it's just a classic.
Snickers is a good one.
Yeah. Anyway, let us know what your favorite is. And I know there's so many out there. So, okay. So the topic of the day is glove best practices. We do talk about this quite a bit, but this is very important, especially when using gloves, just to keep the wearer, the product, the company, and everyone safe. So I want to mention this now as well, because maybe people have to hop off, or maybe people, won't sit through the whole live stream. But we do have a website resource for our glove best practices as well.
We do. We have a download.
Yep.
So everything we're going to say, if you want to have it for your record keeping, for putting in your HACCP plans, for updating things, for passing around, if you need to share it at work, we have a nice PDF. So Ashley can.
I will put this.
Put the link to it there, and you can download it off our website.
Yeah. So now that you have that, this basically goes over what we will talk about today. I personally think we're going to have more fun than a PDF that you could read online. So stick around.
So we are going to go through, for best practices. All right.
Oh yes.
I feel like we're the graphics department, and this is like really sad.
Rudimentary.
Yeah, I swear we have design software, but this is what came out of it today. So we're going to go over glove selection, glove color, the dispensing of the gloves, donning, which is putting them on, using the gloves, doffing, which is taking them off, hand hygiene, which is very important and goes hand in hand with gloves, and then maintenance, which is the hardest word for me to spell ever. And I had to redo the sign twice because maintenance.
It happens. We're marketing. It's fine.
Right. There's no spell check in the Sharpie.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's start off with glove best practice number 1, glove selection.
Yes, and this is a very important one. When it comes to selecting gloves, we recommend doing commercial trials because if you don't try the glove, you don't really know it's going to work. It's really hard because there are ranges of qualities within gloves, between brands, between things like that. So just because it checks the box and it's blue and it's a 4 mil doesn't mean it's going to perform and do exactly what you need it to do.
Yep.
And I would say from our perspective, a lot of times in the market, we find people using 4 and 5 mil gloves, and they can actually use our 3 mil glove just because of the quality of the glove and how they perform. Light brag. But so that's where it is very important to try the gloves just to make sure they work for what you're doing, especially if you're doing something with, let's say, something that's sugar coated or something that would be a little bit harder on the gloves just because you have that
Right.
abrasive surface and stuff. So it is really important to try the gloves to make sure that they work. Just because the specifications on their spec sheets don't completely tell the full story. It's good to see how they perform.
Yeah. And for most food handling, we recommend nitrile gloves.
We do.
That is kind of our best practice for gloves. And they come in different thicknesses, like Sarah said, different strengths and colors and textures. And that depends on the task that they're being used for. So we can always help with recommending what type of glove might be useful. We go based off of what maybe you've used in the past, etc. So polyethylene gloves are a really common glove for short tasks, specifically like ready to eat, kind of like you're putting it on and you're immediately taking it off.
Yeah. Those are like the clear plastic gloves you probably see
Yeah.
at sandwich shops and things
Yeah.
like that.
So like a quick serve use. And then we don't recommend vinyl gloves for food safety. That's just something that we have.
No, we have a live stream about vinyl gloves.
Oh,
if
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
wanted to put that in the chat, maybe
That's
to have
true.
a link to it. We have a live stream where we really dive into vinyl. And it's nothing, I'd say it's nothing against vinyl, but it's really actually everything against vinyl.
Right.
So there are things that people just need to know about vinyl and how it performs on a microscopic level. It doesn't perform like you think it's going to. And then there's also the risk of having chemicals in the gloves that can absorb into your skin. And it's kind of a well-rounded, I don't know if that's the right word, but it's a pretty full topic. So it's
Right.
good to understand all aspects of the vinyl glove before you're using them.
And I just put that link in the chat so you can see our live stream on that one. That one I know is, we go more in depth.
Nice.
And then latex gloves should probably be, well, we recommend to avoid them in food handling just because there are some latex allergies that can be associated with those gloves.
There's a protein on the latex material itself that some people can be very allergic to.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important, we feel, not to handle food with a latex glove because the person with the allergy may not know or know to ask.
Right, right. I mean, you never really would think about that. It's like, oh, the wearer doesn't have a latex allergy, so that's fine.
Yeah, yeah, but downstream could have effects.
Yeah.
When selecting your gloves, durability matters, of course, and I would say it's almost one of the most important things that matter because the glove has to perform. So with the durability, a general concept or perception, I believe, with gloves is that the thicker the glove is, the more durable it is. And in general, this is semi-true. Thickness does add to durability, but the biggest factor in durability of a glove is actually the material it is made with and how it is made.
Yeah.
And so that makes a higher quality glove, which is going to make a glove more durable, more stretchable. You may be able to catch it on something and not have it completely blow open.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not completely thickness. It is more importantly the quality of the glove. But then once you have a quality glove, if I am, let's say, on the maintenance team and I'm working with tools and I'm cleaning drains and I'm doing things that have a lot of torque on them, so it is a lot of stress on the glove, I am going to need a thicker glove.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different thicknesses of gloves for this. But you don't always need a thicker glove. Sometimes a higher quality glove suffices. And then you can have a little bit thinner glove, which is really nicer on the worker's hands.
Yep.
And
saving waste too.
Yeah. And cheaper.
Yep.
But if it is a thicker glove, sometimes workers, if you think about it, if you're wearing it for 8, 10, 12-hour shifts, if you're wearing a really thick glove, every time you're stretching your fingers or grabbing something,
it's hard.
It's almost like doing like a mini squat. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't go to the gym all day, every day. So it's like it would be really hard. And day after day, like your hands would get tired and there can be injuries actually from wearing gloves that are too thick for the job. Mm-hmm. And I will say that a higher quality glove has more flexibility in it. So there is going to be less pull on the worker's hands. So that is another way to combat that. If you do need the thicker glove for it, having a glove that has that extra elongation and flexibility, it really is nice for the worker's hands that have to wear it for hours on end. Yeah.
And so that's also like a good thing for trials. So if you need a bigger size, a thicker or thinner glove, all those things. But you may also need, this is something we see a lot as well, is chemical resistance and or longer cuffs on a glove. And if you're working with harsh chemicals or cleaners or all of that, you might need puncture resistance if you're working with sharp objects. So for food handling, we recommend using a glove with an AQL or acceptance quality level, which is something we've gone over before, but of 2.5 or lower to reduce contamination risk. Essentially,
And 2.5 is where medical gloves are required
Yeah.
to be.
Mhm.
All of our gloves, I will slight brag, are 1.5. So we try to go underneath of that for
Yeah.
our nitrile gloves, but a 2.5 is what a medical glove is required to be. So that is a good, we
Yeah.
feel like a good number to go by.
And acceptable quality level, I'm sure, Sarah, you can say this way more eloquently than I can, but it has to do with how many defects are in the glove, the percentage of what is it? Percentage of defects? No.
It is the acceptable amount of defects. And when we're talking
Yeah.
about a defect, it's not like it's missing a finger or something like that. It could be something that's as small as a pinhole.
Right.
But a pinhole is still something that perhaps sweat from your hands or bacteria, microbes, things like that can still get through the glove.
Mhm.
So there is an acceptable where not every glove is going to be perfect, but I would say an AQL of 2.5 or less is quite stringent. And so in my box of 100, I'm only going to have 1.5 that maybe have like a pinhole in a defect in them.
Right.
So if I have a AQL of 4 or 5 in my box of 100, I have 4 or
risky.
5 gloves that have that. So it's just, yes, the risk goes up with the number.
Yeah. And if you get a box that does not list AQL, maybe ask.
Yes.
It's a good thing to ask.
That is very true. With an AQL food grade gloves, if you will, the ones, they're not required to list the AQL. Some of them test, some companies don't test because it's not required. If it doesn't list the AQL, we call that red flag, and I would keep mushing. Mush. Oh my God, I need my coffee. I would keep pushing and look for a different glove that says it. Because if they're not paying attention to that and listing that, I would kind of
be a little skeptical.
Maybe be wondering about their other quality standards as well, because that one is pretty simple and straightforward.
Yeah. Yep. So what else can we go over for, I guess,
for the selection?
First one?
Well, I guess if we're going to maybe expand a little bit on that for the food compliance of the glove, most of the people we work with do work in food. We also work with law enforcement. We work with the cannabis industry. Dentists love us. So we do work with a range of people, but the majority of our business is in the food industry. So a lot of times when people are looking for gloves, when they come to us, they need a glove that's compliant for food handling. It's FDA compliant for food handling.
Right.
And so a lot of people also think that this means it passed like all of these tests and the FDA is testing the gloves and they're checking the gloves and it is FDA approved. It is not FDA approved because they're not checking it. It is FDA compliant. So FDA set a rule, and the rule is that there has to be no chemicals that I cannot eat that migrate from the glove to the food. So they test it once. When I say they, the factory tests it once for a chemical migration test, and that's it.
Yeah.
So the factory sends in the certificate, boom, I passed. And so the FDA says, yes, you can make this glove. And then they label it FDA compliant for food handling. And the glove is never tested again. And that's where there's just a little bit of gap. We feel like the regulations should be a little bit more stringent and more frequent. So that's why we have our testing that we do on the gloves, because we continuously test our gloves to prove that they're good enough, not just a one-off test that I did once on one glove and then I can make the glove however I want later because nobody's checking.
Right.
There's just a little flexibility in there that we feel like is a gray area that could be shored up a little bit, if you will.
Maybe we could check.
So there are gloves that are FDA compliant for food handling, but we always recommend that you look for gloves with additional testing on top of it, just because we feel like the requirements are too low. So for safety standards for your customers, for the safety of your product, protecting your company from recalls, things like that. We just think that a little more testing should be done on the gloves, and some companies do. So ask the people making the gloves and the supplier, and they'll be able to get you the test results if they're doing them.
Yeah. And I think another thing to note is just having the right sizes available for your staff. If you don't have the right size and someone's not wearing the right glove for their hand, that's going to cause a lot of the problems that we've talked about that we want people to avoid. So having the right size is very, very important.
All right. I only have my one glove with me. I'm a medium. Being a big hands McGee over here.
I know.
Okay, so if a glove is not fitting right, let's say it's really, really tight. Okay, I put on a really, really tight glove. So if it's there, you can see it's going to be stretching. It's hard on my hand. When I put it on, it's more likely to break if the glove isn't working. But if a glove is too big, this glove actually fits me. So hold.
It'll have like,
give me a minute,
pockets.
Like, it would have perhaps like this isn't fitting right because it's extra. There could be extra on the palm. So if I'm doing something like picking up things, or like this could always catch. I could snag it on something. If I have a knife, I could cut this off. I could cut the hand. So having a glove that fits is really good for the employee, but also for not having glove chunks in your product. It's a big deal. It's one extra SKU perhaps for procurement to order, but it can make a big difference in workers' efficiency as well.
Yeah, that's definitely a corner you do not want to cut. So perfect. So that was a long one for the first one, but it's all good information to know. So let's move on.
So now we're done with selection. That was really long. Sorry. Yeah. Now we're going to move to color.
Yep.
So color coding is a great way to cut down on cross-contamination. And we have a live stream, I believe, where we talked about color coding, where we could put that one in there too. And we just really, this is kind of I wouldn't say a new trend. Companies have been doing this, but it is something that we have seen it kind of catching on, and there's more companies doing it. And it seems to be becoming a little bit more of an industry standard. And so what this means is that companies are using different colored gloves for different departments or handling different food. It's kind of specialized each company to each company. They make a plan for themselves. It's not like there's one standard that works for everybody. For instance, I was just working with a meat processing plant, and so they were having glove roofing issues. And so they wanted a glove. They needed a glove that was contrasting to the product.
Right.
Meat is red. So they wanted a green glove. So if the glove would perhaps break and be in the meat, it is visually recognizable. So that visual contrast is something that glove color can be very helpful with, and just having the visual, like, hey, it's here.
Right.
And then also the scanning tools that they have, the machines would also pick up a contrasting color because it's not supposed to be there.
Right.
The other thing could be for, let's say you're a manager and you work in, let's say granola bars. I love granola bars. Okay, so we're just going to work on granola bars. And there's a line of granola bars that you have that have peanuts in them. And some people can be deathly allergic to peanuts.
It's a big one.
And so when you have your allergen line, they're going to be split where they are being manufactured from, or there's a huge cleaning process in between the different manufacturers of the different flavors.
Yeah.
But let's say we have our peanut butter line over here and we just have the regular oats and chocolate here. If I have somebody on my peanut butter line and they're using a blue glove, and then I have my regular line using, let's say, a purple glove, I would know as a manager visually that no one with the purple glove is touching anything with the blue gloves, and then with the blue gloves and vice versa, to make sure there's not cross-contamination between lines or what they're doing. And it's just, it's not foolproof. You still need to train your employees and have them buy in and have that culture there where it is instilled in them to do everything by the rules. But it is a really quick visual of, I'm using blue gloves, I'm touching things I have to be really careful with versus the purple gloves. And just, it's kind of a safety measure that it's easier to see when you're implementing and have people follow the rules, that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah. And, people do this differently. So it varies plant by plant, like Sarah said. So, it's kind of something that we can work with people on. And if people want to create it themselves, it's always.
Yes. We have some people that have their system. This is the color I use, and we have to do this, and it cannot be changed, and they're quite rigid on it, which is fine. And then we have other people that are just developing these processes. So it's like, okay, first, what glove works here? So we can find the thickness of glove, and then what color does it need to be? And so it is part of the process that we can help companies with.
Yes. So I just put the link in the chat for the live stream that we did talking about glove colors and color coding.
It's a good one.
It is. It's a fun one. So I'd recommend that. Next up on our list, we have glove dispensing.
So how do you get people to have the gloves? So it's best to have a standardized way that you're dispensing the gloves across all of your departments, all of your stores, that kind of a thing, having a protocol where you're doing it. It's best to keep this just for food safety, and then for your HACCP plans to be consistent and make sure that the gloves themselves aren't getting contaminated, making sure that they're readily available for the workers to put on. And it's just part of the whole hand washing, gloving process. And for best efficiency, we say the glove boxes should be within an arm's reach of your hand washing stations, because they kind of go back to back. You wash your hands really well, you do that, and then you cover them. So then you put the gloves on. So the hand washing and the gloves really go hand. I know. Go hand in hand. It's like, oh my God. Okay. Anyway, and we prefer to have them mounted on the wall dispensers. And that's just because then they're not on food contact surfaces. They're not on the hand washing surfaces that could get wet, could get splashed, that kind of a thing. Having them a little bit off the way has them close, but still protected.
Yeah. I think this is really important. And I think this is something that's easy, maybe not, I don't want to say easy, but it's something that most facilities can implement and make a big difference with. So, okay. Next is donning or putting on gloves.
Donning. And I don't know why we needed to create a new word for putting on gloves.
I agree.
Like,
completely.
I don't know. Like I don my shirt in the morning. I didn't even know that was a word till I worked here, honestly. Anyway, donning. So let's don the gloves.
Donning the glove.
Donning. Okay. So if we have gloves, when you take a glove out of the box, and we have a video about this too. We have a training video that we like to share with companies. Use it how you would need. It explains kind of the process. So when you're taking a glove out of the box, you want to take it out of the box and you're going to have it by the cuff. If you take it out of the box and you're everything that's on your hands are now on the gloves, which is now going to be touching your product. So when you take it out, yes, you want to take it out. You want to have it by the cuff. And when you put it on, of course, you want to put it on, have the cuff fully. You don't want it all tucked up in the back. So you want to put it on. And then you're ready to go. If you're going to do the same thing with the other hand, only touching the cuff. And then you have clean gloves.
Yep.
Well, as long as you're buying the right gloves.
Yeah.
Anyway, but then you can go and handle your product.
Yeah. So that's donning. It is
Donning.
Pretty self-explanatory, but people do it wrong a lot, unfortunately, and it can be a risk. And it's kind of the human error side of things, which obviously I'm not trying to
It's the hardest thing.
Humans are wrong and whatever, but
control is not the right word, but it is the hardest thing to control is that human element.
Right. It's just one of those things that takes a little bit of practice and going over and all that. So next up is glove use. Perfect. What? Okay.
Sorry, my phone is ringing. I don't even have any friends. I don't know what that is.
Like I just talk gloves all day. No one wants to talk to me. No.
Okay. So for glove use, this one is kind of, I would say a big one. And for glove use, a lot of this is going to be specific to what you're doing. So if let's say I'm just cutting tomatoes and all I'm doing is grabbing tomatoes, cutting tomatoes, but I have maybe a machine that does it and it's just a manual process, or my granola bar factory that I still work at is the bars are going past on the conveyor belt and I'm just adjusting them to make sure it's lined up to go into the packaging equipment. I'm not really doing something that's really hard on my gloves. I can actually wear my gloves for quite a long time. So it really depends on what you're doing. But then let's say we're back on that sanitation team where I'm cleaning drains and I'm just putting, sorry, I almost swore. A whole bunch of torque on that glove. It's just something where the glove is going to have more stress. It's going to have more stretch. I shouldn't be wearing it for as long of a time. Or let's say that person also was working with chemicals.
Right.
Chemicals could slowly be breaking down the glove depending on which chemical it is. And so there's different reasons why you're going to want to take off the glove, switch to a new glove. If you go on a break, you should always switch gloves. You should never take your gloves and wear them anywhere else and then come back to the line to work.
Or like save some gloves and put them in your back pocket.
Yes,
we
gloves
don't do that.
always come out of the box and they go on the hands and then they go in the trash.
We don't save gloves for later.
We don't put them in our pocket. We don't put them anywhere else. Even if it saves you a trip over to the box, maybe the box should be closer to where you are, that kind of a thing. So for glove use, there is a lot of nuances to it, but I also think a lot of it is kind of common sense. But it's also on the company and like the floor managers to kind of realize and see those things.
Yeah.
So they're taking the risk out of using gloves and making them as efficient as possible.
And I mean, I get it too. It's like if your glove is breaking and you're all the way across the other side of the production floor and you have to go all the way over to the glove dispenser.
Right.
Like I would want to grab a couple for later too.
Yeah. Can you imagine going to grab one? You're walking halfway back and it snaps when you put it on. You turn around, you walk all the way back, and that would be just horrid.
Yeah. And we do hear about this. So it's like that's a real
Oh, and as I'm flipping my hair here, the other thing is going to be where you don't touch your hair, you don't touch your phone, you don't touch your face. If you do that, the gloves should be considered contaminated. They need to be switched.
Yep.
So glove use, a lot of it is, I would say, common sense, but it's also everybody in manufacturing, they're probably heads down doing their job. This is how we've always done it. So maybe you don't step back and look at, could we do it better? Should we do it better? Could we do it different? That kind of a thing.
I mean, we always say gloves are very overlooked just because they're seen as almost barely a tool.
Well, they're always there. And when something's always there, sometimes it's hard to see it too,
Yeah,
because it's not something new. It's just something that's always been there.
Yeah. So that one, okay, so what do we have next?
Next, we're going to go to doffing, which I got to say is right up there with donning, if not possibly worse. So doffing.
We're going doff.
So I'm going to doff my shoes when I get home. Anyway, so when you take off a glove, taking it off is just as important as putting it on. Putting it on keeps the gloves sanitary and in the condition they're supposed to be for when you're touching the product. And this one we had, you posted that, didn't you, from the video?
Yes. Yeah. So the video that I posted before, which says, donning gloves, that also has doffing. So you can look at that video and see.
It has the full. Okay. So if I have the gloves though, it kind of makes sense. So I have my gloves on. What I'm going to do, let's say my gloves are just covered in goo. Chocolate.
Let's do that.
Chocolate. Okay. So it's covered in chocolate from my peanut butter factory I'm working at. So if they're covered in chocolate, I want to take them off. I want to get them in the trash and I don't want to make a mess. I don't want to get it on me and I don't want to like splatter everywhere either. So I want to keep the contamination on the gloves and throw them in the trash. So you're going to grab from the cuff. I'm just grabbing glove on glove. So I'm not touching any part of my skin or my clothing. And I'm going to pull it off slowly. And so all of the chocolate now is inside of the glove. If I just it off, I may splatter it. So we want to keep it in there. And then you're going to have the glove with the chocolate inside. And I'm going to hold it inside of my hand. So all of the contamination in the chocolate is, I don't like to call chocolate contamination, but you know what I mean. And then what I'm going to do with my other hand is you slide your two fingers under the glove. So I'm not touching on top of the glove. I didn't touch any of the chocolate. And then I'm going to flip. Let's see if I can do it. It inside out. And then all of the chocolate now is inside of the glove. And I just have a little chocolate pack. And I can throw it away. And that's how you doff.
That's how you doff the glove properly.
And let's say take off. That is how you remove the gloves.
Yes. So that one's important. And again, we have that link that you can use as a resource again as well.
All right. So next up, number 7, hand hygiene.
Woohoo. Okay. So yeah, this one's a big one.
So this one, it is a big one. And it's also, it's like, what does that have to do with gloves? So with hand hygiene, it's really important because gloves and hand hygiene go together. If your hands underneath are not clean, then let's say, for instance, if I was doing something with a knife and I slit my glove. Sometimes it's not like gloves just explode on purpose. It's like maybe I just snagged it on a screw or I did something where the glove opened. Mm-hmm. If I have dirty hands in there, and let's say, for instance, some people get a little bit dewy or sweaty hands inside the gloves. If that pops open, then everything inside the gloves is now out that hole onto my product. Mm-hmm. So having clean hands is very important.
Big one.
So washing your hands, this is something that should be part of training for when you have a new workforce. Also good to reinforce training when you have an existing workforce, just to refresh that when it comes to hand hygiene, washing the hands, donning and doffing the gloves, putting them on, that kind of a thing. So it is good to go over and train your staff about. I would say multiple times. It's not just, hey, you've been here for 5 minutes, we're going to train you how to wash your hands, and then just expect you to be doing it perfectly 10 years later when you're still hopefully happily employed here. Yeah. So it is something where it's good to refresh.
And I can see how also, I mean, sometimes it's like, oh my God, we're getting taught how to learn or taught how to wash our hands. It's like,
everybody loves a training day.
Yeah. Like we understand that can kind of get a bit repetitive, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's one of those things in your job that it's always good to get a refresher. Like think about anyone else's job that you always get a refresher on something that might be really simple.
And even for the safety factor, it's just worth it to making sure that, hey, you're doing it right. Congratulations. Nice job. We're proud of you. Cool. But just making sure that everybody's following the rules and you're on the same page.
Yeah. Yep. So that's a good one. I mean, also, this is a side note, the amount of people that, like, if you're in the airport or something and you go to the bathroom and you see the amount of people who walk out and don't wash their hands.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah.
I feel very uncomfortable with that one sometimes.
I don't know. I like a hand wash. Some people are very comfortable with sanitizers. I feel like you need the physical scrub.
I am with you.
I like, yeah.
It's really important. Daily life, the scrubbing, all of it, very important.
The scrubbing bubbles.
Yep. Okay, so let's move on to the last section of our glove best practices.
All right, glove maintenance.
Woo!
All right, so for glove maintenance, you have to make sure that you change your gloves frequently. Like we talked before, it depends on what you're doing. But if your glove, let's say, is soiled,
It's a horrible
dirty,
name, but
that
yeah.
was a weird, I don't know why I used soiled.
We
So-
use it a lot, unfortunately.
So let's say my gloves before, they were covered in chocolate. It's like, hey, maybe it's time to change gloves because they are just like gonna get things everywhere. So it is time to change the gloves. If I've been wearing the gloves for long enough, if I go in my break, where I store the gloves is important. Gloves should not be in like super direct, bright sunlight out in the sun in a really warm spot.
Yeah.
Gloves should actually be kept in a temperature controlled, kind of a cooler area. If they get super warm, it can start breaking down the nitrile, and then it does affect their durability, their stretching, that kind of a thing. So how you store the gloves is also a big part of the maintenance, where they shouldn't be out in your metal Quonset and just being nuked to death.
And it gets kind of tough when we get asked, what's the expiration date of your gloves? It's like, well, we have a recommended time frame for gloves for sure, of a general sense. But if you don't store it properly, then that's going to go down. So it really is dependent on how
you have to take care of them. But for our, we do say from manufacturer, we give our gloves a 5-year shelf life. And realistically, ours are going to perform after that, but we just feel like that's a very safe, a good time to put a time frame on there. We say ours are 5 years from their production date, but that would be different probably per company of what they consider acceptable
with. Yeah.
Yes.
So that is what covers. That's the last of our 8 glove best practices. Again, we do have that resource on our website, so look back in the chat and you can download this for you to
download. Great to send to your quality team, your operations team.
Yep. So this is
updating your HACCP, making sure that you're training, you're covering all of your tasks, that kind of a thing. It is actually our most downloaded asset. So I think it's a good one.
I mean, it's so easy to slot into your program and whatever you're doing if you're in a food production facility. At least that's what we pride ourselves on.
Did you want to put that link in there again?
I'll do it again.
Just in case, so they can see that one and go and download it.
Yeah, that one's a good one to have.
But thank you for everybody for joining us today. We did get a couple questions. When I say we, I mean Ashley, because I just try to take credit for her work. We got some questions from social media ahead of time when we had talked about being best practices. And there are some people that, and I know best practices you also think is like, oh, everybody should know how to use gloves. And so maybe it's something where you don't feel comfortable asking the question either, because it's like, am I supposed to already know this? And it's like, so I do think there's some safety in downloading this, if you will, and then so you have it right there for you and you know what the rules should be and how to follow them.
Yeah.
But the questions we got ahead of time here, let's say. Oh, okay. This is a good one. Speaking of humans. It is really hard to make people care about glove safety in our plant. What do you think is the best way to get people to buy in to a glove safety program?
This is a good one.
I love people. So people are fantastic, but they are also very different from each other. And it's also, you have to get their buy-in. You can't just set a rule and expect them to be like robotic soldiers and do everything perfectly every single time. And especially at work where everybody wants to do more, have higher production numbers, do it faster. And so when you're rushed a little bit, humans naturally find places to cut corners and things I can do faster. And if I do this, it actually makes me a little bit faster, or I produce a little bit more, or I can get it done a little quicker. So getting people to buy in is hard. It is really hard. And I'd say that's probably the hardest thing about a glove safety program. We interviewed Dr. Darren Detweiler last month on our live stream. And he actually talked about this. I think he said it very, very well about creating a culture, and it starts from the top down. So let's say a CEO comes onto the floor. They should know what gloves to use, how to use them, when to change them. They should know all of the rules. And so if it's something that the company really latches onto and they want their culture to be it, everyone has to emulate it. You can't just make that person with that job title, that's your job. You have to do it. It has to be acceptable across, and not acceptable, almost required and expected. So it's like, these are the rules, we're expected to do it. And you have some pride in following the rules because that's what your company values.
And what I thought was really interesting, or I thought a great point that Darren made, was that we are human. So, there are going to be human mistakes that happen, but it's about how you handle it. And that that starts from the top down. So if there's a manager who's like, oh my gosh, that happened and freaks out or whatever, and it makes it a very, I don't want to say scary response, but just maybe one that lacks empathy.
Yes.
It's hard to, as an employee, then own up to, oh, hey, like my glove ripped and I need
You're
to go.
almost discouraging people from being honest in the future.
Exactly. So I think that's just also a really important thing to note.
But Darren said it much better than we did. If you want to
Very
watch that, the
well.
link is in there. So that was a good one. He really was gracious with his time and talked about a lot of things, especially food safety culture in that one.
Yeah. I know that we are at 39 minutes. We do try to keep these at 30.
We are.
So if we want to do some more questions, we can. But again, if you want to ask us anything, you can ask on social media, on our website, anywhere, and we will we'll get back to you.
Yes, we will.
So, all right.
Well, that one was longer than we thought. Wow.
Well,
so many good glove best practices. Guys, today is not my day. Anyway, we're really glad everybody showed up today, and thank you for being here. And we will see you
next month. So next month, we're going to do a live stream on November 5th. And we will talk all about our disposable clothing. So we're kind of bringing clothing into the glove lab.
Yes. So we have another product line that we don't talk about here on as much, so we thought we would show everybody.
Yep.
What else?
And how they kind of integrate with our gloves. So that's also important. But if you have a topic about disposable gloves that you'd like us to cover, or if anything that we're not covering in these live streams that you want to know, let us know. And make sure you subscribe so that you can get notifications when we do this next. So thank you all.
All right. See ya.